Hey guys, it's Colin from Hollywood Studios here. Today we are back at Great Adventure on Sunday, August 17th. I'm not planning to be here too long. I really just came to check on what has changed at the park. In particular, we're going to be taking a closer look at Project 2027. No drone footage this time, unfortunately. But we're going to see what we can see because the last time we got an update on that plot with the drone, of course, it kind of spelled out a very interesting look at the attraction because it has a turn that a lot of people weren't expecting. So that kind of leads us to wonder, well, what's it gonna do after the stall now? Is it gonna turn again towards Kaz Tower, or is it just gonna go straight? And we're not really gonna know until we see where the footer mark out is for the attraction over there. If I had to guess, I think it might just go straight from there, but hopefully we'll get some answers today. If not today, it's gonna be a little bit until we see more footers poured. But besides that, we're gonna see if anything has changed inside of the park. I know Mine Train is back open, along with a few other changes, so let's go take a look at those. Definitely looking crowded. So something I've noticed, I actually got in really quick. A lot of people are unaware that all the way to the left is the Diamond and Prestige line. I mean, they have signs, but I guess people don't choose to read them. So maybe they need bigger signs, I'm not too sure. But I do appreciate that those who are scanning tickets are sticking to the fact that it is exclusively the Diamond and Prestige line. They're not letting anyone else through. I really do appreciate that. First things first, I'm gonna head to the left side of the park to see what's changed down here. It tends to be the deader side of the park. And I am gonna try to see what I can see of Project 2027, but it is really, really difficult to see anything of that project now from inside the park, just because there's so many fences and just not really any sight lines where you can actually see the entire plot. I'm gonna head down Superman Island first. I'll probably try to go into the queue of Superman and see what I can see, because that might be my best bet in terms of seeing the rest of the plot. We'll be curious though to see how many more footers have actually been poured, because obviously they have all the rebar in place for a lot of these up front, but not all of them have been poured. Some of them were, but not all. So I'm curious to see if that's changed. Here's a little view from over here. Like I said, this project is a really difficult one to report on from the ground because you can't really see anything. It looks like there have been some of these footers that have actually been poured with concrete. No one on the site today because it is a Sunday. They don't typically work on weekends. Let's see what I can see from further up. So a little further up, you can probably see just how difficult this really is to report on, especially with the mounds of dirt everywhere. You really can't tell anything. I mean, I can see that one definitely has concrete poured right there. That's like not too far off from where the station will likely be. But as for further down, you can see the fence, but you cannot actually see where the rest of the attraction will go because it's all blocked by these dirt mounds here. This is probably the most we're gonna be able to see. You can see that kind of like red barricade there. That's kind of where the road was next to Green Lantern. And obviously the site continues way past that, down that line, which we just cannot see from here. Looks like I might have made the wrong call coming here first. Superman is not open quite yet. Granted, the park's only been officially open for like 2 minutes, so no real flack there. But I may wind up just checking on the site over there from outside the park, right next to Superman, because you can basically get the same kind of views, and quite frankly, you're not gonna catch me waiting for Superman to open for the day. And it does look like today's one of the days where both Slingshot and the Great American Road Race have been cut. Like I said, it's not that often that you're actually gonna see both of them open. Out of all the rides, they're gonna be the first two to cut staffing for the day, and it looks like that already happened for them here. Honestly, surprisingly, they have Rita's open right at Park Open. I figured they'd wait till like 11 or 12 to have that open, but if you want some Italian ice at 10:30 in the morning, they're ready to serve you. I've been noticing pretty much every time I come to this park at opening, there's never anyone over here going towards Toro, Medusa, Mine Train. If anyone comes to this side of the park, they tend to just dart to Superman, which I just can't understand because, I mean, you know, even if people don't like El Toro as much as some of the enthusiasts do, it's still a main draw for the park. I just can't wrap my head around this whole area being deserted like this. There goes Toro's startup horn, so I guess it's got a bit of a late start. Oh no, that's the first ride of the day. There's one person on it. I'm sorry, 2 people on it. There are 2 people on El Toro for the first ride of the day this Sunday. Look at that, that's crazy. See, normally I wouldn't really want to ride anything, but I can't pass up literally nobody being on El Toro. All right, 2 rides down on the bowl. I could have done way more, I just didn't really feel like it. When you ride it in the morning, look at that. He's got the train all to himself. That's how my first ride was. I was in the second to back row with the train all to myself. It obviously runs a little slow, a little rough when you are the only one on it, but you can't beat getting on El Toro with no one. So I heard a really strange noise, and I think I figured out what it is. It sounds like the drive tires on Mine Train's Helix are just running at full speed continuously. I think that's what it is, yeah. I don't know why, but they are. Oh, and also a big shout out to the Toro crew right now. I mean, obviously there's not really anyone on it, but sometimes that can make it more difficult to check than when there are people on it. And they are just pumping trains out, no delay at all. What a good sight to see. Mine Train back in action. Now there is something else I want to address, and this has been something a lot of people have been wanting me to talk about, and that is that there are a couple rides that have been removed from the app and website. Log Flume right here being one of them, along with Swashbuckler and the Barnstormer. So typically what that means, it doesn't always necessarily mean a permanent removal. That usually just means they don't see the ride opening for the foreseeable future. So that could mean closed for the season. That could mean a variety of things. I'm pretty sure we saw that with Zumanjaro at one point because they had the sign taken off and it wound up not reopening anyway, even though it was supposed to. But we're gonna keep an eye on all three of those rides. I mean, if you guys have been watching the vlogs, you'd know that I have been closely watching all three, especially Swashbuckler. That is not opened all year. And it's really just a big question mark right now, what its future is gonna look like. I truly wouldn't be surprised if it does get removed. It's one of the park's original attractions, or at least close to it. And I mean, I would imagine that maintenance on it is not the easiest thing in the world. But also while we're over here, Best of the West is closed currently. I don't know if it's gonna open today because it looks like they're not running the safari out of here. So I guess their trial period might have ended. Like I said, Mine Train's open. I'm not gonna ride it today. I'm just here very quickly. But yeah, hopefully we'll see Best of the West continue to operate, especially now that Mine Train's open. It should be a little bit more of a draw to the area. You can see these drive tires right here going into the brake room as well. These are also running at full speed, which I don't think they always do, but maybe after the closure just had, that's the way it was reprogrammed. I'm not really too sure. If you couldn't already tell, Mine Train is just on one train, but honestly, that's fine. I'm just happy to have it open, and the crowds haven't been that crazy back here anyway lately. I mean, I'd imagine later in the day, as more people start to show up, they will be, but when you come in the morning, that's why I always recommend coming first thing in the morning to Great Adventure, even if on a weekend. I mean, maybe Saturdays could be different, but usually you'll be able to run through the park very quickly. That's it for my quick loop around this side of the park, and I'm gonna head over to the other side, see if anything has changed, and then probably head out. Also, something I would love to see here, just a like kind of, I guess, not advice, but something I've seen at the other Six Flags parks, at the refill stations, some of them, like Canada's Wonderland comes to mind immediately, have misters above the fountains. That way the wasps don't all swarm all of the fountains, which tends to work really well. And there tends to be a lot of wasps at all of these locations here at Great Adventure, so hopefully we can see that implemented sooner than later. I'm gonna head down by Flash, and I'm just now realizing that after I rode Toro, I didn't report on what I saw over at the 2027 site. It was really hard to tell. It does kind of look like, just based off the markings, that the project is gonna continue straight, as opposed to having another curve after where the presumed stall is gonna be. Again, there's no way of knowing until we see the footers actually poured, but that is my current guess. All right, now down here in Movie Town / Metropolis, I will not have any coverage of Heroes and Villains Fest today, so I'm not staying long enough. This is, for those that you don't know, it's a nighttime event primarily. They do have Flashbang Brass, which is a show that takes place right here. It's the same show from last year. It's a really great show. Starts at 12, and then there's another one at 1:30 and one at 3. And once Heroes and Villains begins, that no longer has any showings. But I highly recommend coming and checking out Heroes and Villains Fest. It's really cool, especially for little kids. But even if you're just a casual DC fan, or, you know, a heavy DC fan, you're gonna love the event. It's really cool. Moving further into Movie Town proper, Wonder Woman is still closed, unfortunately, so just keep that in mind if you do plan on visiting. Another thing I want to talk about is Fright Fest mazes. So they did announce officially which Fright Fest mazes are coming back. There are no new mazes. They are all the same ones from last year, with a few notable exceptions, one of them being Stranger Things, which is not returning, which I had a feeling that was going to happen, but some of the other parks are doing a maze called The Strangers, and I figured that would naturally replace Stranger Things, but there is no replacement for Stranger Things or Saw X, both of which are not returning this year. So that leads me to wonder what's going to happen with like this building and the building for Saw, because the other ones, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Trick or Treat, Army of the Dead, all the other ones, they're probably going to stay exactly where they were. I don't see any changes there. But I mean, they just spent a pile of money on all those new buildings, and I highly doubt they'd be willing to let them sit there for a year not doing anything. So I'm gonna keep an eye on those and see if I can find out any info on what's gonna happen with the mazes that are not returning this year. Also, I mentioned this in the last vlog, but for those of you who did not see it, they have new Flash Pass entrance signs all over the place for a bunch of different attractions like Batman. And as I'm walking around filming, I'm noticing that the music in this park is way too loud. I mean, they tend to fluctuate too loud, too soft a lot, but It's definitely a little too loud right now. I can barely even hear myself think. It appears that Nitro is having a bit of a delayed start today, but you can see all the way up there that Nitro also has one of those Flash Pass signs, which I think this one was probably the most needed because the Flash Pass entrance for this ride is very difficult to find. There's that new Flash Pass sign for Roaring Rapids. I'm not going to show it for every ride, but like I said, it seems like most rides have gotten those new signages for Flash Pass. Pivoting over here to Jersey Devil, it is also having a late start, but that actually kind of works out because this shows something new that I was informed of. Now, I don't know how true this really is because I haven't seen it operate like this yet, but supposedly RMC reprogrammed the attraction so it operates a little bit differently now. If you notice, you can see there's one train parked right there before the station, an empty spot in the station for another train, and then the station, or the train rather, at the front of the station. So from what I understand, it essentially treats the entire station as one block. Now, if you don't know what that means, that essentially means that only one train would be allowed to occupy the entirety of the station, which means that this train cannot move forward into the station until this train is going up the Latil and out of that block, out of the station. Again, I don't know how true this is yet because I haven't seen it operate like that yet, but if true, it's going to take a little longer to send out trains on Jersey Devil. I don't know what that means for 3 train operations, which we very rarely see now. It's usually just 2. But definitely an interesting change here at the Devil. And if I had to guess, if it was truly reprogrammed, that could be why it's having a late start, because whenever you reprogram something, typically there's going to be some kinks you got to work out after doing so. So that could be what we're seeing now. I'm not staying here much longer. In fact, I'm going to start making my way towards the exit now. I'll be back here in exactly, well, 6 days. It's not a week. For the Jersey Coaster Adventure American Coaster Enthusiast event. So if any of you are there, you will see me. So very, very exciting. We're going to be getting an exclusive tour of Project 2027. Of course, the new coaster that is replacing King Ka. Plus, we'll have some exclusive ride time on Nitro and Jersey Devil in the morning. Jersey Devil actually just started testing, which is great to hear. And they're going to have a raffle of some King Ka parts, wheels, bolts, you name it. So that's going to be a really exciting day. Hope to see some of you guys there. Going to be great to finally have a Ace event back at the park, because back in the day they had what was called Riding of the Bull. If you guys have seen footage of King Ka from inside the infield right next to the launch, that was all filmed during Riding of the Bull. It was one of the best events ever, and hopefully with some events leading up to something like that, we can get back to something similar. But for now, Jersey Coaster Adventure is a really, really good start. And like I said, that'll be the next time I'm here, which is on Saturday, the 23rd it is, yeah. Actually, when I said Slingshot was cut, I might be wrong, because it is testing. You might be wondering why I'm back over here. It's because I want to grab some Ritas before I head out of the park. See, as I walk down the boardwalk and see all these misters, take all these misters and move them to the games, not the game stands, they're at the game stands. Move them to the drink refill stations. That would be great. As I walk out my Ritas, something else I wanted to mention has to do with the new passes. I know a couple people who actually did wind up getting the new pass, whether it be gold or prestige from the MVP sale, which also has the paper cup add-on for drinks, which is an alternative to getting a souvenir cup where you scan your pass and every 15 minutes you can get a paper cup, just like at all the Cedar Fair parks. So if you've done that at any of them, you'll know how it works. I have heard there's been a little bit of difficulty with it at some of the Legacy Six Flags parks because they're still operating on a slightly different system than the Cedar Fair parks are, which if you have been to both, you'll know that the Six Flags system is a lot slower, which I imagine will change next year. Supposedly they're going to integrate them fully, and hopefully they'll use the exact same system. But for now, if you do have that new pass, the paper cup add-on or any of that really, just note that it will take a little bit longer. There may be some confusion. Don't get mad at any of the employees. It's not their fault. The system is just a little confusing. I've also heard of some benefits getting mixed up. Like, for instance, my dad tried to use our Diamond Elite VIP membership to get 50% off a meal for someone. It did not take anything off, but then somebody else who has a 2025 Prestige Pass got 50% off the meal. So I don't even know how that happened. But like I said, there's just some mix-ups with the way that all the benefits are working, so just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna head out of the park now, but I'm not gonna end the video off just yet. I do wanna show you guys the parking lot view of the new project. I'm not gonna be too focused on it today though, because like I said, next week we're gonna supposedly be getting a tour of it at the Ace event, so we'll probably have a better update from that, but still just wanna see what we can see from out there. Like I said, really can't see much from out here, but it's better than nothing, I guess. It's just a whole bunch of dirt. And like I said, as we're down here, we're not really going to see much, but I would expect to see signs of the parking lot potentially being expanded over here sooner than later, because if I had to guess, with all this parking lot that they're now losing again with the new coaster, they're probably going to use some of Lantern's plot to make up for some of that. With all that being said, it's going to do it for today's video from Great Adventure. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.